Do I have Joe here?
Yes.
And is it Courtney?
Yes, sir.
Now, gentlemen, it's quite clear that despite the two of you being friends, this relationship has, to say the very least, broken down horribly. Because, Joe, you describe your ex-friend, Courtney, in very strong terms. How would you describe him, sir?
I would describe him as, well, a friend who somewhat took advantage of a situation.
What about you, Courtney? What's your attitude to Joe having brought you to court?
I'm quite shocked. I wasn't expecting that, at the very least.
You weren't, because the two of you have a very deep and very long background, right?
Yes.
You met in 2008 at secondary school. Now, to be clear, was that in this country?
No, it was not.
Where was it, Joe?
It was in Jamaica.
Now, the thing was, Joe, you weren't exactly friends with Courtney at school. And why weren't you friends with Courtney at school?
Well, I wasn't... Well, I wouldn't say that I wasn't friends, but whenever I saw him, because I didn't want to be associated with being gay or have my life made harder as a result, I would always kind of, like, run the other way. So, whenever he would... Yeah.
It's a very important admission.
Yeah.
And it's a... Back then, when you were a young person, just to admit that is challenging.
Yes.
Joe, Courtney's just described, albeit in a line, what life was like for you at school in Jamaica in 2008. I know how substantially worse it got. Why was school bad for you, sir?
Well, I wasn't out, but, I mean, it was like a book. You could just read it. Everyone knew. So I wasn't hiding anything, but I did shroud.
Yeah, to further support that, I would say that they almost knew it before you did, and they were very kind of vocal with their opinions.
Were you bullied at school, sir?
Yes, I was.
Can you give me a sense of what you experienced?
I was just called names in school. People didn't hang out with me, and the few that did, they were all right. They're mostly girls. I mean, boys didn't really want to be associated with me, so...
In October 2009, Joe, you moved back to the UK.
Yes.
And at that point, you started an online friendship with Courtney. In other words, you stayed in touch.
Yes.
Now, at this point, I don't know whether you had come to terms with your sexuality or not.
Well, I would say yes, I had done. Because, you know, when I left, it was very easy. It was much more easy, and people were much more understanding, and I didn't feel as threatened, so, yeah.
Now, over the years, and it's many years, about 8 years, staying in touch with Courtney, more and more you're hearing about Courtney's life and experience in Jamaica. And it seems to me that you are getting increasingly troubled.
Yes.
Courtney, let's take it in stages. First of all, what were your parents like towards you?
My parents separated when I was 10. I didn't see my dad again until I was about 16, so it was really just me and my mum.
How was your mum once she discovered that you were gay?
She didn't really take it that well. It wasn't a happy place for me. I've been stoned. I've had to run away from many places, many crowded places, just because I've been minding my own business, not doing anything to harm anybody, just being myself. And I couldn't do anything. It's not an accepting society. It really isn't.
How often were you confiding in Joe as to what was happening?
A lot. I would message him on Facebook or Skype or WhatsApp, and I would tell him what I was dealing with and what I was going through. And, you know, he cared a lot for me, and he was worried.
I mean, November, I kind of put my foot down and I was like, right, you really need to start thinking now. I've been mentioning to you for years that I'm willing to help you get over here because you have a great skill set. You've spent all of your life building up a skill which is going to be very well needed and very well remunerated here, and so...
What was your job, sir?
I'm a graphic designer.
A very talented one at that, you'd agree?
Very.
I agree too.
Thank you.
The thought started in January. You need to get out of there, you need to come here.
Yes.
You offered some help. The first thing you did, which was in March, so 3 months after the discussion where it became clear that it was no longer safe for you to be where you were. The first thing you did was transfer money to Jamaica of about £50. What
Yes.
was that transfer for?
That would have been sufficient for enough taxis as opposed to buses like public transport. That would have gotten him enough taxis until the time that he was ready to fly so that he was off the street.
Thank you very much. Is that true?
That is true.
That was the 9th of March you wired that money. There must have been a discussion about Courtney coming to the UK. I presume, Courtney, you didn't have sufficient funds to pay for a flight.
No, Your Honor.
What was the agreement that you made with Joe about paying for that flight?
Over the years, we had always been discussing it, and he's always made this offer for me. And as we established, I came to the, I had enough. I had to leave. And I said that I would pay this back as soon as I'm able to start working, and I'm within the means of being able to pay it back.
Thank you, I believe you. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
That was £490.88.
Yes.
Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.